Our presentation is going to be first, firmly based in the notion of a school-based project that we worked on that caught us into thinking about teachers' professional learning and the notion of teachers' creative learning. Where there are multiple understandings of creativity that have been reinforced today, and I suppose what we're trying to get at is the notion that it's problematic and it's a highly contested space. The focus of our presentation, or the school-based project that we worked on, was going into a school to see what the teachers and the leadership team thought about the notion of creativity and creative learning. And the process we followed was interviewing or working with 23 staff in one particular school, so a third of the staff, through interviews and journals and focus groups. The model that we've got there interacts the three sort of areas that seem to interact in relation to creative teaching and teaching for creativity and creative learning, and the dots that we're using in this is try to represent some of the fluidity and things going forward and backward in relation to what we're working through. Teaching creativity, for some people, see it, the notion as being the focus of the teacher, whereas teaching for creativity is focusing on the agency of and promoting the agency of the student. A lot of the literature we looked at talks in that area and thinking about those notions of what creativity is about and the intersection of those areas. I'll move on. The creative learning aspect, this little box down in the circle down in the right, the corner there, is pretty much about our innate ability to play, think through, left to our own devices and how that might work. The model that we used for our process was literally looking at a model by Lynn, who tried to link those aspects together and talked about the notion of creative pedagogies where those bits interact and all those elements are interrelated. There's the link in our project. We saw when teachers talked about teaching for creative and creative pedagogy, they talked about things like creating opportunities for teamwork, and a lot of the art specialist teachers in this school talked about the notion of don't show me, tell me, or don't tell me, show me what you need, what I want to see, or what you want to show me. Some of the negatives in that space were also in relation to the usual things of administration and timetabling and all those features. In the area when the staff in this school talked about creative teaching, they talked about reacting enthusiastically, reinforcing that it's not too okay to succeed, you can fail and you'll get through to somewhere else, and also there's no right and wrong answers. In relation to creative learning and the teachers' responses about how they saw their responsibility for being involved in creative learning they had to create safe spaces and also that allows students to actually undertake risk. So that was what was in that space. We want to now turn to the issue of teachers' professional learning.
There is a strong culture of teachers' professional learning in the school, with much of it occurring as a consequence of observing peers in action and encouraging creative teaching. Yet some issues emerged, one of them being that the teacher's ability to critically reflect was either limited or not clearly articulated. Professional learning needs to be dynamic, dialogic, situated and complex. Simply providing facts and information about teaching and learning are no longer enough. Above all, professional learning needs to involve all teachers who practice it routinely within the school with a view to implementing teaching strategies and techniques that make the biggest difference to student learning. This did cause us to question we questioned again and again. Oh, this itchy-pitchy stuff's great. This did cause us to question, what about teachers' creative learning? If creative learning is any learning which involves understanding a new awareness which allows the learner to go beyond notional acquisition and focuses on thinking skills, then we contend that this could apply equally for teachers as it does for students. Recapping thus far.
Still not moving.
Recapping thus far, the creative learning of teachers is central to students' creative learning. Teachers' critical reflection is needed to inform teaching for creativity and creative teaching. Teachers' creative learning is largely overlooked as professional learning. This is our reimagined view of creative pedagogies with teachers' creative learning at the centre of Lynn's figure. Because it is not possible to teach for creativity or to teach creatively unless teachers have an understanding of their own creative learning. All of these components could then interact together to lead to students' creative learning. Evidence highlights the importance of three things: school culture in supporting or impeding teachers' creative practice, eliciting teachers' prior conceptions of creativity in education, and teachers taking on the role of learners to develop their own creativity. What then might developing teachers' creative learning involve? Looking at Standard 6.2 of the Australian Professional Standards that we've heard about before today, engage in professional learning and improve practice, at our research school, this could mean building on the suggestions made by participants in the research to quarantine what they called creative planning time. In Standard 6.3, engage with colleagues and improve practice. This could mean professional learning teams nominating particular problems or challenges that they will investigate. Things like, what does collaboration mean for us? Or what might imagining what playfulness might look like mean for us? In Standard 6.4, probably the most transformative of them all, apply professional learning and improve student learning. In other words, we believe ensuring that the exciting opportunities that are available to students are also available to staff by ensuring that teachers' creative learning is at the centre. Thank you.